Hello, math learners! Our lesson for today is about the measures of position of statistics. The measures of position are statistical values that divide a set of data into four equal groups. Let us have the common measures of position. First, we have the quartile, next decile, then percentile, then we have the standard scores or z-scores. For today, we are going to focus only quartile, specifically the quartiles of ungrouped data considering case 1 and case 2. The data can be ungrouped or grouped. Ungrouped data can be identified if the number of data is less than 30. The quartiles of the ungrouped data can be calculated by dividing the set of data into four equal subgroups. Quartiles are values that divide a set of data into four equal parts or subgroups. And we have to compute for the first quartile represented by Q1, second quartile represented by Q2, and third quartile represented by Q3. For the first quartile, this value is the median of the first half of the data. It separates 1/4 of the sorted values from the upper 3/4 of the values. If there are n sorted values, then quartile 1 is greater than or equal to 25% of n and less than or equal to 75% of n. This will mean that 25% of the respondents scored lower than or equal to Q1. For quartile 2, this is the value of the median of the entire data. It separates the bottom 1/2 of the sorted values from the upper 1/2 of the values. If there are n sorted values, then quartile 2 is greater than or equal to 50% of n and less than or equal to 50% of n. And this will mean that 50% of the respondents scored lower than or equal to Q2. For the third quartile, the value of the median of the second half of the data. It separates the bottom 3/4 of the sorted values from the upper 1/4 of the values. And if there are n sorted values, then quartile 3 is greater than or equal to 75% of n and less than or equal to 25% of n. And this will mean 75% of the respondents scored lower than or equal to Q3. For the illustration, this part, 25% of n, will mean 25% of the respondents scored lower than or equal to Q1. This portion will mean 50% of the respondents scored lower than or equal to Q2. And for this portion, it will mean 75% of the respondents scored lower than or equal to Q3. This portion is the upper 1/4 of Q3. Let us have now quartiles of the ungrouped data. We have to consider four cases. For case 1, n is odd and 1/2 of the quantity n minus 1 is also an odd number. For case 2, n is odd and 1/2 times the quantity n minus 1 is even. For case 3, n is even and n is divisible by 4. And for case 4, n is even and n is not divisible by 4. And we will be talking about case 1 and case 2 for today. For case 1 of quartiles of the ungrouped data. That is, the number of data is odd and the result of 1/2 times the quantity n minus 1 is also an odd number. For quartile 1, we have 1/4 of the quantity n plus 1 th score. For quartile 2, we have 1/2 of the quantity n plus 1 th score, or this is equivalent to the median. And for quartile 3, we have 3/4 times n plus 1 th score. For example, find the first quartile, the second quartile, and the third quartile for the following sets of scores of 11 students. And these are the scores: 30, 12, 10, 16, 18, 24, 29, 27, 22, 14, and 15. Counting the number of scores, there are 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So meaning n is equal to 11, and this is an odd number. And 1/2 of n minus 1, it will be 11 minus 1. And 11 minus 1 is 10. 1/2 of 10 is 5. And 5 is also an odd number. So this problem falls under case 1. Because in case 1, we have n is odd and 1/2 of n minus 1 is also an odd number. Next, you have to arrange the scores in ascending order. Then number them consecutively from 1 to n is equal to 11. You can have it in tabular form. So from 1 to 11, then the lowest score is 10 and the greatest score is 30. To solve for Q1, the formula is we have Q1 is equal to 1/4 times the quantity n plus 1, then you have th score. Then all you have to do is to substitute 11 to n and then simplify. So 11 plus 1 is 12. And 1/4 of 12 is 3. So this will mean, this th score here will mean it is the third score. So the third score is 14. Therefore, first quartile is 14. And this will mean that 25% of the students scored lower than or equal to 14. So 10 and 12 will mean belong to the lower 25% of the data. Solving for Q2, we have Q2 is equal to 1/2 times the quantity n plus 1, then its th score. So 1/2 times n plus 1, then you have to substitute 11 to n plus 1, that's 12. And 1/2 of 12 is 6. So you will be looking for the 6th score. And the 6th score is 18. So here we have 18. This will mean 50% of the students scored lower than or equal to 18. So this portion belongs already to the lower 50% of the group. For Q3, we have Q3 is equal to 3/4 times n plus 1 th score. So substitute 11 to n plus 1. Then 11 plus 1 is 12. 3 times 12 is 36 divided by 4. That is equivalent to 9. So we will be looking for the 9th score. And the 9th score is 27. So meaning quartile 3 is equivalent to 27. This will mean 75% of the students scored lower than or equal to 27. So from here, from 24 until here, this belongs to the lower 75% of the group. Let us have case 2. Quartile of the ungrouped data under case 2. So the formula, we have Q1 is equivalent to the quantity of 1/4 of n plus 1 minus 1/2 th score, and you will still be solving for the quartile 1, which is equivalent to 1/4 times the quantity n plus 1 plus 1/2 th score or th quantity. And you will be taking the mean or the average. Whatever the result of the first quartile, you add it to the result of the next quartile 1, then divide it by 2. For quartile 2, it is equivalent to 1/2 of n plus 1 th score or th quantity. Then for the third quartile, it is equal to the 3/4 of n plus 1 minus 1/2 th score. And you still have to take another third quartile equivalent to 3/4 of n plus 1 plus 1/2 th score, and take the mean or the average of the two. So mean the result of this plus the result of the second, divide it by 2. Let us have an example. Find the first quartile, the second quartile, and the third quartile for the following sets of scores of 9 students. And the scores are 27, 30, 20, 14, 17, 21, 26, 23, and 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 scores. Since n is equal to 9, it is an odd number. And 1/2 of n minus 1, that is equivalent to 1/2 of 9 minus 1, is equal to 4. This is an even number. So this problem falls under case 2, because case 2 is n is odd and 1/2 of n minus 1 is even. Then after that, you arrange the scores in ascending order. Then number them consecutively from 1 to 9. You can have it in tabular form. So from 1 to 9, then the lowest score is 14. The highest score is 30. Solving for Q1, first we have to solve Q1 using this formula, 1/4 of n plus 1 minus 1/2. Then substitute 9 to n, so 9 plus 1. And 9 plus 1 is 10 times 1/4 minus 1/2. And this is 10 over 4 minus 1/2. Take the LCD, which is 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1 times 10, it's 10. 4 divided by 2 is 2 times 1 is 2. So we have 10 minus 2, it's 8 over 4, which is equivalent to 2. So we are looking for the second score. And the second score is 16. So it's here. Next, we have to solve for the quartile 1 using this formula. So substitute 9 to n plus 1, it's 10. So we have 1/4 n plus 1/2. And then we have to simplify, that's 12 over 4, and it's 3. And we have now the third score. The third score is 17. And we need to take the mean or the average. Solving for the mean or the average, we need to add the two results, then divide it by 2. So we have 16 plus 17 over 2, that is equivalent to 16.5. This will mean that 25% of the students scored lower than or equal to 16.5. Solving for the second quartile. For the solutions, this is now the formula, 1/2 of n plus 1 th score. So all you have to do is to substitute 9 to n, then plus 1, it's 10. 1/2 of 10 is 5. So we are looking for the fifth score. And the fifth score is 21. So quartile 2 is 21. This will mean 50% of the students scored lower than 21. And solving for Q3 or quartile 3 or third quartile, first we need to take the value of the quartile 3 using this formula, 3/4 of n plus 1 minus 1/2. Then substitute 9 to n, then plus 1, it's 10. 3/4 of 10 minus 1/2. And it will give you 30 over 4, which can be reduced into 15 over 2. So 15 minus 1 is 14, then over 2, it's 7. We are looking for the 7th score. And the 7th score is 26. Here. Then we need to solve for the quartile 3 using this formula. So substitute 9 to n, then add 1, it's 10. 3/4 of 10 plus 1/2. And 3 times 10 is 30 over 4. So it's 15 over 2. 15 plus 1 is 16. Over 2, it's 8. So we have the 8th score. And the 8th score is 27. Then take the mean or the average. We have first Q3 result, which is 26, and the second is 27. So 26 plus 27 over 2 is equivalent to 26.5. This means that 75% of the students scored lower than or equal to 26.5. Do you have questions? If there's none, see you next time. Bye!